Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another round of sound. This is the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. I'm Bob Pompeani. As always, we got a lot to get into, like the Pittsburgh Penguins coming back from the All-Star break, 9 days off. Ron Hextall staring down at a trade deadline in about 26 days or so. What does he do? What can he do? We'll get into that. We'll talk about Pitt basketball surging to the top of the ACC, or close to it at this point. But the #1 topic tonight on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown will be Super Bowl week and all the things that come with it. And here's to talk about it is your panel tonight. We have Jason Mackey from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Pirate beat writers getting ready to go down and get some sun, I'm sure.
1 week.
Joe Starkey, Stark Raven from 93.7 The Fan and Pittsburgh Post-Gazette with a newly cropped hairdo. And shaved pretty tight there. How about that?
You like it, Bob?
I do like it, Joe. I think it's fabulous. And then Will Grace from the Associated Press.
Don't cut my hair because it's going to look like that if I do it. So I'm keeping this.
You got the facial hair. You have that look. You carry it off very well, Will Grace, from the Associated Press. So let's get right into it. Joe, you're passionate about this topic. So we have Kansas City and Philadelphia in the Super Bowl. Are the Chiefs the new Patriots, and is Patrick Mahomes the new Tom Brady, and do the Steelers have no chance because of it?
Yes to the first two questions, no to the third, and thank you for asking, Bob. Yeah, of course they are. They've been to 5 straight AFC title games. Brady with the Patriots went to, what, 9 Super Bowls? Every other year. If you take out the year he was hurt, he went to the Super Bowl every other year. You always knew that you had to beat New England, although, interestingly, the Steelers never did have to beat New England on their way to Super Bowl wins, right? Brady and Peyton Manning snuck in there a couple times, and that was it. Pretty much. That was it. So, yeah, Patrick Mahomes is still young. I would say
there are a lot of AFC options, by the way. Some pretty good quarterbacks in the AFC.
It goes through Arrowhead, and Mahomes is going to get there, I would say, a half dozen more times.
I would say, but do they have the track record there? I mean, look, they lost Tyreek Hill, and they replaced him without missing a beat. But are they? Travis Kelce isn't going to play forever. You know, some of the guys on defense aren't going to play forever. So, like, are they going to be able to find the replacements? That's what the Patriot way, that's what they were able to do was once they knew a guy was out, they got rid of him. Like, once he was past his expiration date, and they found a guy that was cheaper and just as good.
That's exactly what they did.
The Chiefs, they did that with one guy.
One guy who brought them multiple picks, plus Mahomes took a team-friendly deal.
I think it's okay
plus
to be
they're really smart.
And by the way, Kellen Moore, I think, is going to do wonders for that Chargers offense next year. You know, Josh Allen is still, what, 27, 28? I mean, I think, are they the team to beat? But 6? I would say 6. He's, what, 27? Let's say he plays 10 years. I would take the under. I'm taking the under on that.
He's halfway there at this point.
I'm taking the under on that.
Okay.
5 straight AFC championship games. Like, I agree with you, Joe. I agree with you. I mean, you have to include Buffalo, you have to include Cincinnati, but at this point, based on what Kansas City has done, they're far and away the team the Steelers should be aiming for, emulating, trying to beat. No, they have to beat. And you have to throw the ball to beat them. That's essentially what you had to do to beat New England.
All right, so the Steelers then go into this offseason knowing they have a lot of things. Will, what's the most pressing thing they need to do? What do they have to get, whether it's in free agency, the draft, whatever, to make their team better?
I'd like to see a left, no offense to Dan Moore, I think they need a left tackle that's going to be there for 10 years.
Would you go with a Taylor Lewan route?
No, I'd rather, well, I mean, I know he wants to come here. If they're in a spot with Kenny's contract where they can splurge a little bit on veteran guys to maybe accelerate the process of them getting better more quickly. But I'd rather have a young guy on a rookie deal that you can build. That is going to be.
So draft him, in other words.
I mean, I would draft him rather than splurging on that position.
The last thing they need is a broken down left tackle.
Who's had back-to-back ACLs, right?
Yes, he's missed.
Oh, there's no more ACLs left to hurt, though. So that's good. He's got it's like
Ward never had one, right?
It's like Kaboli and Achilles. It's the same thing. There's no ACLs left.
But they need offensive line help. I mean, you can't turn that down. Good.
They do. But I think it starts on the defensive line. Man, that's what you look at when you look at these two teams. Chris Jones on one, and then the Eagles just destroy people. And then you look at history. If you can wreck a team on the defensive front, that's a huge step toward winning a championship. Aaron Donald should have been the MVP last year. Tampa Bay destroyed Mahomes in the Super Bowl. Go back in history all the way to the Steel Curtain. That's where it starts. So to answer your question, I think they need to fortify their defensive front, and that includes get a real backup for T.J. Watt, so they don't have to hear every year what their record would be with T.J. Watt. I don't care what it would be. Get a better replacement.
I would agree with Joe, but if I had to throw something else out, Pomp, I'd go secondary. Some locked up, like Akello Witherspoon was not getting it done clearly. Like, I don't want them to necessarily do that in the first round, but somewhere high in the draft, you have to take somebody who can cover somebody and do it consistently. If I look at some of these teams as well, playing in championship games, like their secondary is not where it needs to be.
No, I think they need help there, and I also think they got to find an inside linebacker somewhere, somehow.
Yeah.
Because no matter how good your front four is or whatever you're going to use up front, if you have a weakness in the middle, there are too many good tight ends around the league who will find those openings and make it difficult to do. So, one final thing, since we brought up Tom Brady. Tom Brady is now heading into an announced career. When you see, he's going to make $37 million regardless if he's good or bad. What do you think he'll be like as an announcer?
Gig, man. Ooh. I mean, you know what? I think he'll actually be pretty good at it. I think that he has done. I think what's his name? Bill Belichick did such a good job of like taking the personality out of Brady. And Tom was so cognizant of trying to expand his brand and not really say anything. I think now he's in retirement, he's going to be a little more relaxed. And I think it's almost like Mike Tomlin, by the way, when you're not recording him. He is hysterical and Pop, this, and as funny and as engaging as you would want. You hit record and he talks like a sheriff, right? I think it's going to be the same thing with Brady. I think get him in this with the right partner. I'm assuming he's going to be on the number one team, right? I think he'll actually be better because my expectations are low.
Yeah, I think he's either going to completely bomb or be unbelievably great. And if he's willing to criticize players, it doesn't mean you have to savage them, but if you're willing to criticize them and have an edge, he's got that. He showed that at times. I've been surprised before, though. I didn't think Cowher was going to be any good as an analyst in the studio. Yep. And he turned out to be good for that reason. He wasn't afraid to be critical. I thought Hines Ward would be great. He was great sitting at his locker, but it didn't work. Yeah. So Brady will be one of two things, great or horrendous.
I'm taking great, Pomp, and I think anybody who puts that much thought into what they do or that intentional about TB12 or dissecting a defense, I mean, there's clearly thought given. Brady's going to be able to articulate it. People are going to be enraptured by, just who he is and what he has to say. And I think he's going to be articulate enough to carry a broadcast. I'm really intrigued.
Maybe at first, but remember now, Tony Romo's gone through a couple of years, and all of a sudden there was a quote intervention with CBS.
Now.
What's happened to Tony Romo?
What happened to him?
I don't know.
I think he just read his own clippings about how great he was, and I think the big part was he got away from what he was really good at the first couple of years, the Ramos Stradamus stuff, right? Yeah. And he tried to do that a couple times in the AFC Championship, and he was wrong.
Did they have an intervention? Is that true? That CBS?
Yeah, they flew in to see him.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're trying to talk about.
Do we need that for you and Cook? Should we get one for you and Cook? Do we need
an intervention for us?
We got to go to a break on that note. When we come back, a little bit later, we're going to talk about whether or not it's good business to trade draft picks, first and second rounders for a head coach. We'll also talk about Pitt, but next up, we're going to talk about the Penguins because Ron Hextall spoke today. We haven't seen him in a long time. Hear what he had to say and what he needs to do. That's next.
Number One Cochran Sports Showdown is brought to you by Number One Cochran. Go one better.